Hey guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. So you're back in another Minecraft Bedrock beta / preview. This is 1.20.0.21 and it's got a few minor little tweaks in it, so let's quickly just cover them. First one is 120 features, so things like archaeology and all stuff like that. It's now out of experimental toggles, so you no longer need to turn on the next update toggle to actually get the features. You still need to obviously be within the beta. And the actual next major update toggle has been removed due to it's actually not got nothing inside of it. Also, sand and gravel will now play their correct sounds when you actually brush them. So if this cow goes away, let's quickly just punch him away. As you can hear, the actual blocks now play their sounds when you actually brush them. And also when you complete brushing them, it will now place the correct sound as well. So this one will place a gravelly sound, and this one will play a sandy sound. There has been an update to decorated pots where the top row of pixels wasn't actually being used. I don't exactly know what that means. I don't know if it means them row of pixels right there, or if it means the row like there. But some pixels on the actual decorated pots will now be used within its texture. The actual pitcher plant will now actually update its hitbox depending on how big it is. As you can see, as it grows, the hitbox changes to basically match its new size. The actual pitcher plant crop will now use its bottom texture. I don't actually know if there's a way to see this because obviously it's on the actual like farmland. But I'm pretty sure if there is a way to remove this farmland, it will now have a texture on its bottom face rather than being invisible. We can actually see this in action by standing below it and then breaking it. You can quickly see that there is a texture there now. The calibrated SCULK sensor has been updated a little bit. It will now detect vibrations from 16 blocks away rather than 8. So it's quite far now. Also, it will now power the block below it, so if it's on a block, the block below will automatically be powered. It will now receive vibrations every 1 second rather than every 2 seconds. A bug has been fixed when you was actually jumping on bubble columns. Your actual player would accumulate full damage. That is now no longer the case, and you actually won't build up full damage while jumping on bubble columns. There's now actually a sound when you try to interact with a actual sign that has already been waxed. As you can hear, there is now a wooden sort of sound to basically say that the sign has been waxed and you can no longer actually interact with it. It seems like there was a bug where you could actually like use ink and glow ink on the side of a sign if it was empty. That should no longer be the case, and you should now only be able to use it on sides that actually have text on them. So if I was to put just a few texts there and try and click on this sign, as you can see, it's now not actually letting me use the glow ink because there is no text. If you actually have a sign that is unwaxed and you click on it, hold an item that cannot be used on signs, so for example glow ink, or dyes, it will now open the sign GUI rather than doing nothing. So you basically can do this now with any item as, okay, I forgot bone meal is actually white dye. So if you hold an item, you no longer need to go to an empty hand just to open up the sign GUI. There was also a bug where if you had an item that had a use action, it would actually play the action as well as open the sign GUI. As you can see, that is no longer the case. It would beforehand play the goat horn sound as well as opening the sign. Now, it will just open the sign. If you want to actually play the goat horn, you obviously don't look at the sign. If you actually have your sign dyed, and then you add some more text to that sign, it will now match the color of the actual text that is already on the sign. And finally, the last thing to relate to signs, it is now possible to actually place 2 hanging signs on each other without actually crouching. So if I quickly just place like there, as you can see, I'm not actually crouching, and it still lets me actually place the sign. Obviously, you can still crouch if you want the sign to be the V shape, but for you just not to crouch at all, it will actually place a sign with the 2 chains. There was a bug where the sniffer's head would sea fight with its body. That has now been fixed, so there will no longer be sea fighting between sniffer's head and body. SCULK sensors now also power the block below them, so if they are activated, they will emit a redstone power to the block below. We can obviously see this by placing a repeater of some sort, and then obviously putting that right there. And as you can see, when they receive a signal, it instantly puts the redstone signal out there. Another change to SCULK shriekers, if you now actually waterlog them, they will now no longer make the shrieking sound. So if you want shriekers, but you don't want them to be noisy, just throw a water bucket in them. And as you can see, they are still shrieking, but they are not actually outputting a sound. There's a parity change to doors apparently, and this is when opening and shutting them, they will actually now rotate correctly. I don't exactly know what that means. Okay, why does it drop the door? I'm in creative mode. Okay, it only drops the door when you break the top half. That is really weird. But yeah, apparently the doors will now actually rotate when opening and closing them. And finally, within this actual update, vibration frequencies. In preparation for the calibrated SCULK sensor, vibration frequencies have been greatly simplified. And as you can see, they have now been put into category descriptions for each frequency. You can see movement in any medium, so land, liquid or air. Landing on a surface, whether that be land or liquid. Item interactions, gliding with an elytra. Or unique mob actions like Ravager's roaring or Wolves shaking, equipping gear, interacting with an entity, mobs and players getting damaged, consuming items, blocks deactivating, blocks activating, blocks changing, blocks being destroyed, blocks being placed, mobs and players spawning, and mobs and players dying of an explosion. So it should be a lot easier now to understand frequencies and how much they output. There are also some technical changes. There are actually not many. So let's quickly just cover some of them. They fixed the bug where the editor would be accessed during a regular gameplay session. Fixed the get equipped item name, Molang query, not being able to return old name of some flatten items. So for example, red wall to wall. They've also introduced new entity filters, all slots empty and any slots empty to allow searching for empty item slots in a designated equipment location. So I'm guessing this means you can actually check to see if like the helmet is empty, for example. They have also fixed a crash when enabling ray tracing in ray tracing compatibility content that was loaded in with ray tracing turned off. Custom items with durability and repairable can be combined to repair them without requiring a custom item entry, and fix incorrect content warnings for recipes that use the same blocks but different data. There are also some experimental technical features for add-ons and API, which I'll just let you guys pause the video or go check the patch notes linked in the description if you do want to read any of these. And they have also got some components. Attribute speed multiplier in the actual Minecraft boostable component is now being passed correctly from JSON files. Old behavior is maintained from format version lower than 1.20 with 135 value rather than what the JSON specifies. But anyway, that is it within this preview and beta. There wasn't really much. It was just a few little tiny tweaks. But I guess I'll see you guys in another one very soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.